Hi, it's Belle here, and welcome to chapter 2 of the food series. This chapter I'd like to talk about, well, the title of it really is How Do I, as a parent carer, stay calm while I'm trying to help my child, caree, figure out how to, what they can eat, how they can eat comfortably, stress free, and get some nutrition into their bodies, because it can be a really worrying time, especially if you've got pressures coming from, other outside influences, family members, schools, whatever. And even if they're not really pressures, sometimes they can feel like they're pressures because you've just got so much going on. And, a food thing is just another one of those things that you can be worrying about. So for one, before I start, I'm still not saying that all of the things I suggest are going to make everything fine and you're suddenly not going to worry anymore and it's all going to be like wonderful. They're just ideas and tips to see if you can take a tiny little snippet or help to change your perspective. I hope that it does bring you some comfort and some tips, and just knowing that you're not on your own, and things can change. The first thing is that what I've learnt with our child over the years is that it is a process and things do change. It might stay the same for 2 or 3 years, but it does eventually change into something else as each and one of us grows and develops. It's the same for our autistic kids and young people, adults. We're continuously evolving and changing at our own speed. So please, if you're a parent, new to this and your child is newly diagnosed, or that your child is autistic or has some kind of sensory condition, it can be freaky. And I'm not being negative by that, I'm just saying it's real, and we're allowed to share our feelings and say, God, I've never done this before, I'm out of my depth, I don't know what to do. So hopefully this video will help you a little bit. We feel all the time, what, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. So I'm trying and focus on what you can do. Even if it's only one little tiny thing, hang on to it like a lifeboat, like a buoy in the sea. Okay, so what can you do? If your child isn't eating very much or only eating limiting foods, try and feel like you're doing something to help. So one of the things I would suggest is that, as comfortably and without any stress, and find ways in which you can measure them and weigh them. Even if it's getting them on the scales for you for a couple of minutes, just get a rough weight. If any of these things are challenging, if they're easy, brilliant. Get them on the scales, weigh them. Get them weighed. You can do that yourself, or ask the school to do it if the school are able to do that. That's what we do with my son. Measure his height, and put a date next to it and measure his height. Again, rough, if it's only rough. Write that down and kind of keep like a little bit of a diary, because if you see and know that they are growing and they are putting on some weight, that will help keep you calmer. Okay, it will work, promise. Also check for things like their hair. Is their hair growing? Are their nails growing? Are their body functions working? Are they going to the toilet on a regular basis? Are they weeing okay? Check their energy levels for their normal, natural self, and their emotions. What are their moods like? Are they more tetchy? Are they unable to cope? Are they getting more stress than they would usually? Keep an eye on these things and really keep an eye. And if they're all okay for their natural state, hopefully these things can also help keep you calm. Not to ignore it, not just to stick your head in the sand and not try and improve the food and the way that they eat or what they eat and when they eat, but just to help keep you balanced, as in, my kid isn't eating very much, or they're only eating this, or they're only eating that, but they are growing. They have still got energy. It will just help keep you balanced instead of just focusing on the fear and the panic and the because ultimately this is about helping your children and your people in your care. And if you can keep as calm and as centered as you possibly can, that is going to help them tenfold. Also, as a temporary measure, if you're really worried about their food intake and vitamin intake and just nutritional value, There are vitamins and calorie boosters that you can get. I'm not talking about these weird faffy things that are out there or any kind of quackery. I'm talking about vitamins that any human being might take if they are going through either recovering from an operation or an illness and they're not eating as much food as they would normally. Okay, this isn't an instead of, this is a temporary thing so that you feel that you're doing everything you can to help put some nutritional value into your child's body. I'm not asking you to force this down their throat at all. I'm asking you to work with, or I'm not even asking, who am I to ask? I'm just offering out ideas, suggesting that if this was something that you felt you needed to do, work with the foods that they've got. So if they only eat a chocolate bar, if they only eat a chicken nugget, or if they only eat apples, or if they only eat whatever it is, try and get some of that vitamin or supplement of some kind onto the food that they already eat. You know, you can get drops, which are really, really easy. You can just put one little droplet on there and tell your child what you're doing. Tell them what it is. Don't keep secrets. Don't feel like you're having to hide stuff from them. I think the more you get used to saying, hey, you know, in a really positive way, we're going to put some vitamin E as an example, or some vitamin D, or some omega oils, or whatever you feel your child is lacking in. You know your child, you know what they're putting into their bodies. You can also seek advice from dietitians and you know, go to your school nurse or doctor and just be proactive and ask for help, because the more you do yourself in these suggestions I've given, trust me, you'll just feel more empowered, you'll feel more in control, and you'll be like, yeah, okay, my kid still isn't eating, but I'm doing all of this, so I know they're growing. And then if they're not and they are, you know, you're really worried, then you've got that evidence and you can go to the doctor or the nurse and you can say, look, I've been monitoring my child for 3 months and I'm really concerned because they're not putting on any weight, or don't seem to be gaining any height, or their nails have stopped growing. But if all those things are happening, you're kind of like, trust me, it just makes you feel more in control. So go with the foods that they are eating, whatever it is, and check what the nutritional value of that is. You know, even if it's not great, when we had a dietitian come to the house and check out, and we got her through the school, she came to the house and she got me to write down stuff that my son was eating, and I was thinking, oh my God, this is going to be so embarrassing. It's just really poor nutrition. And actually, we were surprised by what he was getting. So we did add a few vitamins. We added vitamin D, vitamin E, some vitamin C, and some omega oils. Not all at once, when it was like sometimes just twice a week, tiny little drop on his buns, because that's what he ate. It works. And now he doesn't really have any vitamins because we've evolved and he's beginning to eat more veg and fruit. Make sure they drink plenty of fluids. You know, water's best. You know, pure water is best. But whatever you can get, you know, and in a real positive way, if they want to drink, get them to drink as much as possible, because that will help keep things flushed and fresh, and you'll just feel better about them drinking stuff too. Okay, this is a toughie one, I think, sometimes, because when we panic about not eating, when we panic, we tend to go, right, if you have this, if you eat this, you can have this. If you don't eat that, I'm taking that away from you. And then it all becomes like this, you know, punishment, you know, a battle of, you know, because you're panicking and you don't know what else to do and you really want your kid to eat. So it's understandable, we've all been there. But as a suggestion, I'd say try not to do that. Try not to make it sound like they're being punished for not eating, because if they're not eating and it's been going on a while, then there's real reasons why they're not eating, or why they're finding it genuinely difficult to get certain foods into their mouths. You know, we have to figure out what those reasons are. We will be talking about that in our next episode, chapter 3. I'm going to really sort of talk about sensory issues and reasons and possibilities as to why your kid or caree is finding it difficult to eat food. So in the meantime, if whoever's watching this has heard other, whatever you've heard other autistic people say, or your own child, or the people in your care, or any input that you've got and you want to share, please do put it into my comments, so that everybody can see, and I will pass all the information on that I get into my next videos, because this is what I want this to be about, is like, let's share our ideas, let's kind of build up as big a bank, as big a toolbox as we possibly can for each other, autistic or not, so that we've all got this huge toolkit that we can go, yeah, we'll try that. No, that didn't work for me. Oh, there's another idea. Oh, God, that did work for me. And then you share what worked for you. I think that's a really important thing. We have to know that we're not alone and that we can help each other. Like, we know our kids. We've got more knowledge and wisdom in us than sometimes we care to even consider, because we just get so freaked out by so many things and outside influences. So if you're going to negotiate food and you're going to do swaps, like food for an iPad, or food for a CD, or food for a DVD, or food for a going out somewhere, rather than it being a punishment, make it like a celebration. So even if they only manage to eat a tiny morsel of something that you've suggested and they're not stressed, end it before they get stressed if you can. Like, end it on a happy note and be like, oh my God, thank you so much. That was amazing. I hope that felt okay for you. And it's okay, we're going to do this together. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do my best to help you. I'm going to do my best to listen to you. I'm going to do my best for us to figure out how that you can eat a little bit of food so that you can grow and thrive as a human. Really kind of like, don't be afraid to share those thoughts and feelings with your children. Non-verbal or not verbal, whether you feel what their level of understanding is. Please just still share with them what your intentions are and why. Because we can also forget that too. It's really important that you do that, I think, especially for your autistic child, because they need to know that even if you're on their side, like, tell them that you are. Tell them how amazing and wonderful they are, and how much you love them, and that we're gonna get through this, and most of all, which I did say at the beginning, wherever your child is at with food and what they're eating or not eating or drinking, it is a process. From my son eating just buns, like white sesame seed buns, and Freddy Frog chocolate bars, and some chips every day, that's all he ate, to now he's eating a plate of raw veg, and he's eating some fruit, and he's even eaten a homemade beef patty, and he's even eaten some smoked salmon. Tiny little bits, but he's eating it. That is a miracle right there. Trust me. Like, if you knew us, that is a miracle. He has a plate of that food every night. And we're just trying to build on that slowly and surely each and every day. And it is working. But that has taken 5 years. 5 years of me doing what I've been doing to help him eat more food. So please remember, it's a process, and keep sharing and keep sharing and keep sharing with your friends and your family and the autistic communities. Get yourself out there, ask for help, give your suggestions, let's share, let's be this family, let's be this community that we all need, and sharing information is just a great way to support each other, even if we feel isolated. We're never alone. There's always people out there that want to help. So I hope those little tips have helped. Any other tips, please share on my comments and subscribe. And the next chapter in a week's time will be focusing on the sensory needs and ways in which we can help get some food and a variety of food into your child, young person, adult's life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in a week.